Welcome back to the Janus World Building Project. In this video, we'll explore design principles from Cetaceans and Algae and introduce the Stedders. After a few decades of libertarian daydreams and seed funding experiments, the first successful seasteading community attained self-reliance and is beginning to grow into a unique culture. With a focus on rearrangeable modular island ships in the vast inland sea of Janus, which expanded with changing weather and rising sea levels. Communities and relationships change fluidly with the layout of steads, more dynamic on the outside edge and more established towards the center. The design of the floating platforms is fully self-sufficient, with extensive recycling and composting capabilities, fully renewable power supply, and ecosystem support for the sea on the underside of the platform. The structures on top of the platform are made of laminated timbers and biocomposites, while the furniture and partitions use bamboo composites for easily adjustable layouts and styles. Clay tiles from the lakebed provide a sturdy roofing system and finishing surface for the wet areas, of which there are many. Drawing from minimal governance ideas and libertarian political philosophy, Chinampa lake farming traditions, and indigenous floating cities in Peru, a new culture has developed around the water's unpredictability, the craft in wood, composites, and rope needed to maintain the fleet hulls, and a focus on entrepreneurship with strong limits on monopolies implicit and a focus on worker sovereignty. Each island is governed by its owner, and new islands are regularly launched at various scales. Once a year, a council is held for all island owners to reach consensus on lake policy, as it is their shared commons. Learning from the wisdom of cetaceans, the Stedders study anatomical systems, cellular arrangements, and champion adaptations, looking also to algae for their solar strategies and stationary facilities. With presence throughout the world's water system, cetaceans and algae together stretch from the tiny phytoplanktons to the largest living animals, from single cells to complex organ systems and social communities. Looking to comparisons of both groups of organisms by functional properties, structure includes bones and teeth in whales, and both the resistive casings of diatoms and the resilient elasticity of seaweeds. Working with water flow, kelp bends in the waves, while whales swim swiftly through thanks to hydrodynamic morphology. Whales feature cross-current thermal exchange in fins, transferring heat from extremities before losing it to surrounding water. Respiratory systems are opposite and complementary, with algae using photosynthesis to generate energy with CO2 and producing oxygen, which whales then breathe from the surface to produce exhalations of CO2 in return. Alongside impressive lungs, whales have specialized organs for sonar and reniculate kidneys. Algae include a wide range of strategies, such as flagella for movement, and a life cycle sometimes alternating from sessile to motile modes. At a cellular level, some algae form communities, while whales contain diverse and elegantly integrated cellular modules, collaborating for complex functioning. Whales are notably separated into filter feeders using baleen and toothed whales. Iconic examples of integumentary variety are humpback whales with pronounced tubercles, and the glassy reinforced diatoms. Learning from these patterns, the Stedders designed a societal lifestyle inspired by algae, with large fixed underwater towers focused on farming algae, fishing, serving as reef refugia, and biomineralized panel manufacturing. Once sufficient resources are converted into the building materials for a new tower, a flippable ship quickly emerges from assembled panels and moves to a new location to begin manufacturing a new tower, with workers assembled from the many diverse steads, all vying to get the largest commissions within their particular business foci. Stedders themselves wear whalish diving suits, or waterproof and adaptable clothing with fastened cloaks, collection back baskets, and signature bioplastic diving helmets doubling as rain and sun visors. As an example design of a typical stead, living is separated between an underwater engine room with hydrofoils connected to an above-water structure, such that waves pass harmlessly beneath to avoid rocking. Panels are triangular and assembled such that an overall triangular pattern can be achieved as easily as a round, hexagonal, or square format. Primary living quarters use the top deck under a solar roof, while storage, mechanical, and guest spaces reside below the main deck. In calm waters, more floating solar panels are unfurled around the base to boost production, and attached algae farming and mobile fish herding spheres are common. Quick movement is possible with a kite system, depending on wind patterns. The many diverse steads drift about in a complex dance of preference and context. Recalling the diverse specialization of cells, the panels themselves also include basic features of sensing, intelligence, manufacturing, and repair with minimal support from the crew. Lacking extensive internal distribution systems, a mobile 5-axis arm can be mounted to the center back of the panel to complete more complicated tasks. Panels are then locked at shared corners and covered with an offset finishing grid for high-performance coatings to diminish friction and degradation from salt and sun. Panel centers allow trussing connection to high-efficiency struts through the interior, arranged to allow access from crew when needed. Using this modular system, light enough for 2 people to lift and install, many forms are possible. Some steads also use more traditional shipbuilding methods, with woods and bamboos, as part of the focus on resilient supply chains. Looking out over the clustering of the stead mat, the ex-dog Flo Lamb chats with Dreamstrider Sienna Wall, before being joined by the Zali planter, Jack Mizzen. Feels so calm. Here we go again. It's easy to forget how close things are to falling apart, if you say so. You don't feel the looming threat? Why would I waste time worrying about that when I have an algal farm and a fish school to tend? Haven't you seen the number dropping? Could be a bad year. Could make it a better year. So you've figured it out then. The end to the Janus Cold War, the fix for changing climate, a deterrent for the increased pirates. No, but we have to try. I'm not convinced thinking counts as trying. Hey Flo, Sienna. Hey Jack. Back from your dive already? How's the grass net? Infrastructure's whole, but the seaweed is struggling. Pollution levels rising. Even down deep? Until we do something about it. You too. What? Sienna's tired of overthinkers. You can't solve the ocean, you navigate it. So we should think about being better navigators. Isn't it hard enough just being good? Which is why we need to rethink the systems that make being good so hard. How can you dream up a better future without growing into your future self first? Neither of these grow more seaweed this season. And what if nothing grows next season? Or the next? Okay. Break's over. Can you give me a hand with the solar floats? As an affiliated society with the planters, interactions with plexus, technomads, swells, and villagers is common, providing resources otherwise scarce in a bioregional web of goods and services strengthening each constitutive community. Thank you for your time and attention. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more.